Greetings and salutations. My name is Coach Steve, the Affordable Life Coach. If you're interested in changing your life, improving your life, or just talking and getting some support, some strategies, some techniques, some deeper spiritual reflections and understanding about life, your life, and send me an email. It's in the description. Consultation is absolutely free, no obligation afterwards, and then ridiculously affordable sessions. So one thing that I've noticed in coaching, I've been doing it for 13 and a half years now, is the people, my clients, and just people in general who are the most unhappy are the ones that are the most selfish. And one of the things that I'll gauge is, where is their spotlight? Where do they shine the spotlight as they go through their days, their weeks, their months, their years, their life, their conversations, their focus, their needs, their desires? Is the spotlight on them? Think of like you're watching a musicians, a group perform, a band perform, one of your favorite bands, and the spotlight is only on the lead singer all the time, and that's the focus. That's who you hear. The volume is turned down on all the supporting cast members. And a lot of us just go through our lives without even realizing it, that we're self-obsessed and we're conditioned to behave this way of being selfish, thinking of me first. How can I get ahead? How can I become successful? How can I get all the things on my wish list of goals, dreams, fantasies that I want? And it's all about me, 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 me. And it's interesting because the two most popular words in the English language is I and me. That's what's used the most often, is I and me. And when I'm coaching people, or when I'm just kind of listening to people talk, people in the public, I always tune into how much of their focus is about themselves, or how much of the focus is about other people. How much their focus is about God, how much their focus is about their things that they might be interested and passionate about. Because we just love to talk about ourselves. We love to focus about ourselves. We love to feel like we're being victimized by society, by certain racial groups, by politicians, by family members, by our childhood, by our friends, by our peers, by our coworkers, by our bosses. Everyone wants to be a victim and complain about how bad other people are. And that's another red flag. Or other people, they just want to talk about how miserable and unhappy and depressed and anxious and stressed and frustrated their lives are. And sometimes they'll even just blame themselves not in a constructive way, in a self-destructive way, where they just mope and complain about how miserable life is and how they've been dealt a raw hand, or how they have some deep deficiency about themselves, and so woe is them, and it can't be changed, can't be improved. But it's just, you're not going to be fulfilled, content, joyful, connected to other people if the spotlight is always on you. And that's what causes us to ruminate and to self-obsess and to negative thinking. Oh, well, I have this, and how is this going to affect me if this doesn't go my way, or this person has been mean to me, or this person is talking behind my back, or they're judging me, or how can I look more beautiful? How can I look more handsome? How can I get people to like me more? Or how can I people please so people approve of me and give me the validation that I'm so desperately seeking? How can I get a better job, get a better partner, get a nicer car, get a raise, get more material possessions? How can I be more successful, more liked, more popular? I think I've said that one. It's just, you get the gist. It's just about me, I. And those are the clients that are the most unhappiest and just most, there's just the joy gets sucked out of their lives because they're constantly thinking about themselves. And when we self-obsess, we're gonna find all the things that are wrong in our life, in our sphere of influence, in society and culture. And that's why, like, when you go online and you listen to all these people complain about how they're victims and how they're oppressed and how they can't get ahead and how they're kept down, it's like that victim mindset just cripples you. But it's self-created. And I'm not saying there's not valid cases where people are being victimized. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I'm saying on the whole, and especially, living in a place that is a first world country, you have so many options and opportunities. And people like to be a victim because they feel like they're not living up to what their potential is, or they're too lazy and they don't want to put the time, energy, and effort into creating a fulfilling life, or they feel like a failure, and it's hard on the ego to say, hey, my failure is self-created, self-induced. My lack of growth, lack of self-reflection, lack of being able to take constructive feedback. Another thing that I'll notice, the clients that are very me and I centric or very selfish centric, they defend their ego like their life and their value depends on it. So they'll get very defensive. I'm very honest in my coaching sessions, and that will be a gauge when I'm trying to help a client and they bite back when I'm telling them constructive feedback that they might not want to look at, or when other people give them feedback, they're just not able to self-reflect in a way that acknowledges their shortcomings and failures and personality defects. It's just like, it's not me, it's them. Just that constant blame. And you feel like you have to walk on eggshells around them. And you might be this type of person, you might know people like that, but they're so fragile that you can't say anything that might hurt their feelings, or, oh, that made me uncomfortable, or that wasn't nice what you said. Listen, when you hear the truth, even if that truth is very uncomfortable, it sets you free, because you're no longer trying to control your life and control your environment and control other people. That's another red flag. When you are around people that need to control things, to control their image, how they're being perceived, control people's reaction to them, control people's behavior, control themselves, like they're like a publicist, constantly trying to manage and control their self-image. And maybe, that might be you. One, it's just completely exhausting. It's so much easier just to be yourself and know that there's going to be people that don't like you, there's going to be people that disapprove of you, there's going to be people that approve of you, and just roll with it. But your greatest asset is authenticity and truthfulness. And people who are very selfish, they're so worried about and so fearful, living in fear and anxiety of everything that could possibly go wrong, because they're so busy trying to protect themselves, trying to stay safe, trying to stay comfortable, not wanting to take risks. And it's such a boring, dull way to life, and you don't attract other people that would connect with your flawed, authentic, imperfect self. And selfish people, when you are, and now we're all selfish to a certain degree. Of course we are. We have our self-interest and we want to take care of ourselves and we want what's best for ourselves. I get that. I'm talking when it's closer to like a little bit on the extreme side, and you might not even realize that you're doing this. But if some of these red flags that I'm bringing up tick your boxes, it's something to be aware of. And we are social beings. This is why selfish people are not happy. And this is why studies show people who volunteer and get the spotlight off of themselves and focus on other people and helping and donating their time or donating their effort or energy. But it's about connection. When you connect with other people on a deeper, more meaningful level, you feel good about yourself, you feel good about life, and you're not ruminating. All that ruminating, you have your own judge and your own self-inner critic. It's not shining the spotlight on you and finding all the flaws, because human beings naturally focus on what is negative. It's just a survival instinct. And when we are not sharing our gifts, sharing our talents, sharing our creativity, sharing our love and connection with other people, that energy turns in on us and starts attacking us and finding all the ways that we're flawed or imperfect or not living up to what our potential is, or we're not eating the right way or exercising or maintaining our habits or accomplishing our goals. And that's the burden of when you're very selfish. It's all about you, and all about being all about you is a big weight to carry around, because you're always going to find something that's flawed, and you're always going to be dissatisfied with life when you are that self-obsessed and ruminating and thinking about yourself. And just get that spotlight off of you and start focusing on other people. That's why I love what I do. It's such a fulfilling and rewarding career of helping other people and seeing lives transform. Not everybody. Some people, it's like they don't want to transform or they don't want to put the effort. Okay, but at least I'm there for someone to talk to, someone that cares about them, someone who's going to listen, and somebody who's going to empathize. But I don't empathize with a victim mentality, but empathize with some of their pain and struggle, and offer a constructive solution or a different perspective and way to look at life. My most popular video, Life Sucks, it's like if you read some of those comments, it's just depressing. Everything's about my life sucks because of this, because of that. And when you're self-obsessed, you always generally look at the glass as half empty, and you don't look at all the blessings in your life, and you don't look at all the positive things. And when you think your life sucks and you're self-obsessed and you're feeling down and negative and depressed and all these things, you're not looking at options that will heal you, that will lift you up, that will lift other people up, that will allow you to connect and develop deep and meaningful relationships. Because isn't that what it's about? It's about deep, meaningful relationships, enriching life experiences, and strengthening your spiritual core, connecting with God, and surrendering to God, and not putting all the pressure and work and effort and willpower on yourself. It's relying on a higher power, but you have to humble yourself. And I met people that are just so proud, and I have some clients that are so proud that you can't tell them anything because they want to do it their way. They think they know best. They think they're so smart and so intelligent, and everything is about some of the most difficult clients I work with are the intelligent ones, because they think they know all the answers. And they don't question their worldview or their self-view. And it's just, you could see, it just sucks the joy out of them. And it's like being in your own prison when you can't let down the walls, when you can't let other people in, when you're unable to focus on giving instead of getting. It's depressing. And what we're taught is, we have a brain chemical imbalance, or we need a quick fix, something that's going to fix it, whatever that is. And sometimes, yes, there's cases when that is necessary, and you need to consult your doctor and a professional. And other times, it's just taking action and stop thinking about yourself all the time. Not just like trying to turn it off, but you can't, because it's hard to do that. But just giving to other people, loving other people, connecting with other people. And it means you're going to have to find your tribe, your group of people. You're not going to be able to connect with most people. And if you're not being authentic, they're not going to be able to connect with you, because what you're doing is essentially lying, and you're showing them a false version of yourself. And our society is moving so much more in that direction. I need to be called by this. If anyone doesn't call me and address me the right way, or I need people to not say anything or do anything that makes me uncomfortable, or that makes me feel judged. It's just, you're setting yourself up for failure, and you're setting yourself up for anticipation anxiety, because it's just unrealistic. So some things, practical things that you can do is find some place that resonates with you, a church, a synagogue, some place where your spiritual muscle is going to be exercised, and there's going to be like-minded people. And I would encourage people to do your own search and be open-minded, because one of the things that a lot of people just immediately shut down is anything related to the Bible, anything related to Christianity. I don't want to do that. I want to do something more Buddhist, or I want to do something more New Agey, or I want to do something non-duality, or I want to do something where I don't have to confront my sin, or I don't have to change my life, or I don't have to live in obedience to a higher power. We want that selfish freedom to do whatever we want, even if it means hurting ourselves and hurting our other people. And when you open your mind and go, hey, you know what? For example, the Bible has stood the test of time. There's got to be value there. And having an open mind and open heart, and doing your own research, and not judging on it with all your negative predispositions, but having your life rest on a spiritually solid foundation. I get a lot of clients that are very much into, and I went through this whole path, a lot of New Age stuff, and a lot of stuff that is based on works and effort and even pride and ego. Look how spiritual, holy I am, or like, a devoted meditation practice. And it's still, you're relying on self. Or I even get clients that are just completely atheist, So I get all kinds, and I try to meet them where they're at and not impose my viewpoint on them, but offer it. Hey, this is an option. I think we just need to open our minds and realizing that there's dark forces that are overtaking our world, and it's getting more and more oppressive. And one of the things, the dark forces, is they want to victimize everybody, and they want everybody to speak up on how they've been wronged, and how they've been hurt, and how they've been kept down. And it's like that's not a way to create peace. That's not a way to build harmony, and it's just a way to conquer and divide. And don't fall into the trap. Think critically and find your own path. I'm just throwing out some suggestions here, but like just think about what's possible when you have God on your side, that you've recognized that we're broken and we have a sinful nature, and God is the only one that can heal that and forgive that. And it's just like, stop trying to control our lives. Stop trying to do everything on our own, and just, it's the sweet surrender. And then you have like that deep inner peace, and you're not so affected by what does or doesn't happen in the world. It's a beautiful way to live. And as I've been doing this a long time, I realize that people, when they accomplish their goals, when they develop good habits, when they, all the things that they want, they lose the weight, they get the job, they do the traveling, they get the promotion, they get the girl or get the guy, eventually they just come back to that deep sense of emptiness and loneliness. And then they need something else to fix it. And so like, while habits and goals are really important, it's something that I still work on with clients in coaching, the most important thing is finding a strong spiritual foundation in which it's like your bedrock. And when you're on that bedrock, the winds come, the rains, the storms, the animals, all those things, the disappointments, the rough patches in life, you're just on much more solid ground, more stable, and life is more peaceful, and you don't need to constantly feed that emptiness that we have with addiction, because we all worship something. We all do. Some people worship themselves, worship their intellect, worship politicians or a political party, worship materialism or money or alcohol or internet or addiction. Like, we all have something that we use to numb out our deep-seated inner pain, which is from a disconnection from God. It's just all there is to it. And you look historically, why have people always worship something? And some people worship power and control. And it's just finding a way in which to live your life that you're free, that you're not dependent and not enslaved to your ego, not enslaved to the approval of other people, not enslaved to financial gain, not enslaved to disapproval, not enslaved to escaping in Netflix and all different types of mindless distractions. It's just like walking with a deep sense of calm, confidence, inner peace, and knowing that you don't have to do this alone. There's support out once we open our heart and open our minds and ask for guidance. Just get down on hands and knees and pray more. So if this interests you, and even if it doesn't interest you, at least expose yourself and try something different. If you think, oh, this coach, he's out in left field, he's talking about the spirituality and the Bible and God and all that stuff, he's crazy. That stuff is old. That stuff doesn't work. That stuff my grandparents used to do. Well, yeah, look at generationally, things there's morally degrade, where things get worse and worse and worse generation. Maybe, the early settlers or our grandparents or the generations before this had the right idea of going to church and reading the Bible and praying and focusing their lives around family and generosity and giving to others. I mean, you've tried everything. Most people have tried so many things, and the worldly way it's a dead end. It just leaves you empty and unfulfilled. And so if you're interested, shoot me an email in the description. We could talk. The consultation is a half hour. You don't ever want to have a session. That's no problem. I just love talking about these things and offering a different perspective, but still respecting what you want to do and what your goals are and what you want to focus on. I don't want to impose this viewpoint on other people. I would just like to talk about it and see if it's something that might be an option in your life. Because, the something's not right. As we get smarter, as all our social sciences like psychology and therapy and health and all the different things, science, all the things improve, you think life would be better. Our lives would be more fulfilled and more content. And what we see is just rampant unhappiness and addiction and pharmaceutical solutions, prescribed to everybody, that even struggles with these kinds of thoughts. We just can't numb out anymore. We have to find what is causing my spiritual malady and what's underlying my deep malaise that's creating this, or what's happening in our culture of why suicide rates are up and why people just don't seem fulfilled and content and happy and joyful and connected and communal and giving. Why have we become so narcissistic as a culture and society? Something's not right, and it's only getting worse. I'm throwing out an option for you to consider, to talk about, and for you to tell me, hey, Steve, you're wrong, and these are the reasons why you're wrong. I'd like for you to tell me that in the comments if you think I'm wrong and what your solution is. Because whenever I ask what their solution is, I ask them, well, how's that going for you? You've been doing this for years. Some clients I get, they've been doing the same thing for decades, and the wall goes up when I try to throw out, hey, here's a different option. Go with God, give that not a try. It's not a panacea, but just humble yourself and realize that we're all broken. We live in a fallen state. You could just see it everywhere. So there's my today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Try to throw something different out, because how many videos, when you're searching YouTube, can you watch about productivity? Can you watch about goal setting, time management, habit tracking, or keeping your habits? Again, those are important, but those are secondary. If you're not whole spiritually, if you're not connected to God, those things is like a drop in the bucket. It's like putting a Band-Aid on an open wound, open, huge, bleeding wound. And we need, as a society and as individuals, to stop the hemorrhaging, turn off all the indoctrination and propaganda that we expose ourselves to, turn off all the superficiality TikTok videos and the shallow entertainment that we use to just numb out and distract ourselves. It's killing our spirit. It's not healthy. It's not stable. And most importantly, it just doesn't work. So, love your comments. And even if I don't respond, I eventually try to get to most of the comments. But this is like a way I connect with people out there in my small YouTube audience. And if you want to support the channel, there's a link in the description. And I encourage everybody to at least open your hearts and open your mind to giving coaching a try in this perspective, and see if it's something that works for you. All right, thanks for watching if you made it this far, and look forward to the next one. Bye-bye.